Poem of the Week number 10, A Word for Summer by George Seferis, 1900 to 1971. Originally published on the 3rd of September 2021. In the transition of seasons, from the summer that seems to vaguely meander, doesn't the autumn rouse us like a return to reality? As much as I adore the nascent autumn, I always want to salvage something of its belated forebear and hopelessly find something to cling to. With that said, let's get to the week's poem. A Word for Summer. We have returned again to autumn. Summer, like a notebook that has tied us with writing remains, full of erasures, abstract scribblings on the margins and question marks. We have returned to the seasons of eyes that gaze in a mirror beneath the electric light, lips compressed and the people strangers, to rooms, to roads under the pepper trees, while the headlights of motor cars kill thousands of pallid masks. We have returned. We always set out to return to solitude, a handful of earth in our empty palms. And yet I have once loved Singros Avenue, the double rocking of the wide road that would leave us miraculously by the sea, the everlasting sea, to be cleansed of our sins. I have loved a few unknown persons, suddenly met at the day's ending, talking to themselves like captains of sunken armadas, a sign that the world is wide. And yet I have loved these very roads, these columns, no matter if I was born on the other shore near rushes and reeds, islands where there were wells in the sand that a rower might quench his thirst. No matter if I was born by the sea which I wind and unwind in my fingers when I am weary. I no longer know where I was born. There still remains the yellow distillate, summer, and your hands touching Medusae on the water, your eyes suddenly unveiled, the first eyes of the world, and caverns of the sea, bare feet on the red earth. There still remains the blonde and marbled youth, summer, a little salt dried up in the hollow of a rock, a few red pine needles after the rain, scattered about like tattered fishing nets. I do not understand these faces. I do not understand them. Sometimes they imitate death, and then again they shine with a lowly life of the glowworm, with an effort at once restrained and desperate, compressed between two wrinkles on two soiled coffee-house tables. They kill one another. They decrease. They stick like postage stamps to the window panes, faces of the other tribe. We walked together. We shared bread and sleep. We tasted the same bitterness of parting. We built our houses with whatever stones we had. We took to the ships. We left our native land. We returned. We found our women waiting for us, but they recognized us with difficulty. No one knows us. And our comrades put on the statues, put on the bare and empty chairs of autumn, and our comrades slew their own faces. I do not understand them. There still remains the yellow distillate summer, waves of sand receding as far as the last circle, a rhythm of drums pitiless and endless, bloodshot eyes sinking in the sun, hands with the manner of birds cutting the sky, saluting the ranks of the dead that stand at attention, lost to a degree I cannot control and which commands me. Your hands touching the untrammelled wave. Form. Free verse, at least in its English translation. This is the first poem of the week that I have not been able to read in the original language. Analysis. First stanza. The poem takes place during the transition from summer to autumn. The two seasons are in this stanza contrasted, whereas the summer is presented as something vague, abstract, hard to comprehend. What a simile Seferis gives us. Like a notebook that has tied us with writing, full of erasures, abstract scribblings on the margins and question marks. The autumn, on the other hand, is stark and penetrating and confrontational, the season of eyes that gaze in a mirror beneath the electric light, while the headlights of motor cars kill thousands of pallid masks. The autumn is also marked by its urban and artificial qualities. Note the images of cars, roads, and electric lights. It is also a return to something solitary and fruitless. Quote, we have returned. We always set out to return to solitude, a handful of earth in our empty palms. Second stanza. The poet mentions that he is not completely averse to the city, however. He says that he has once loved it. Singros Avenue was one of the major roads in Athens, leading from the city centre to the coast. Here the sea is invoked for the first time in the poem and will remain a central symbol throughout. Contrasting with the merciless temporality of seasons, the sea is eternal, everlasting, and purifying. It cleanses our sins. He goes on to further explain that he has also loved the people inhabiting the city, though all the same juxtaposing it with his more provincial background. Quote, "No matter if I was born on the other shore near rushes and reeds, islands, where there were wells in the sand that a rower might quench his thirst, no matter if I was born by the sea which I wind and unwind in my fingers when I am weary." End quote. A biographical note can be helpful here. Seferis was born close to Smyrna in the former Ottoman Empire, his family forcibly expelled in 1923 alongside hundreds of thousands of other Ottoman Greeks. It is a recurring theme in his poetry. The poem introduces a feeling of alienation in this stanza, not just geographically, but there is a sense of alienation from himself, of a man no longer sure of his own identity. Whereas he has told us just before where he was born, the stanza nonetheless concludes, "I no longer know where I was born." Third and fourth stanzas. Just as there is something left of the summer, the poet wants to express that there is perhaps something relatable, something comprehensible to hold on to. Quote, "Your eyes suddenly unveiled, the first eyes of the world, and caverns of the sea, bare feet on the red earth." End quote. It is nonetheless expressed as something fragmentary and broken. Quote, "Scattered about like tattered fishing nets." End quote. Fifth stanza. The theme of alienation continues here, specifically relating to the people around him. The people are presented as barely living. Quote, "Sometimes they imitate death, and then again they shine with a lowly life of the glowworm." End quote. They're mean. Quote, "They kill one another." End quote. And unrelatable, distant, foreign. They are, quote, "faces of the other tribe." End quote. Sixth stanza. The we here seems to refer to the same people mentioned in the preceding stanza. The use of this pronoun indicates that the poet and these people may have things in common, a similar origin, a similar sense of deprivation, a similar sense of alienation. Quote, "We tasted the same bitterness of parting. We built our houses with whatever stones we had. We took to the ships. We left our native land. We returned. We found our women waiting for us, but they recognized us with difficulty." End quote. Nonetheless, the poet has ceased to be able to understand even them. All that is left, once again, like the remnant of a passing summer, are his incomprehensible and fragmentary memories that he cannot master, like a hand touching an untrammelled wave.